Is on Radio Scotland to listen to the football. It's the big game to come from Tannadice this evening. It's Dundee United against Aberdeen. I'll hand you over to our commentary team of Michael Stewart, Willie Miller and Liam McLeod.
Thanks, Kenny. A lengthy sports sound for your pleasure today, that's for sure, as Dundee United and Aberdeen prepare to go head-to-head in what's been one of the classic fixtures in Scottish football's top flight over the last 4 decades, perhaps in particular. Aberdeen's last win here, actually, you've got to go back a while, albeit they haven't been regular visitors here over the last 5 or 6 seasons due to United's stint in the second tier. But it was March 2016, Simon Church scored in a 1-0 win. That was the last time an Aberdeen player scored at Tannadice, as the two sets of players walk out of the famous Tannadice tunnel off to our right. We're right up at the back here on the gantry in the main stand as the referee Willie Collum leads the two sets of players up towards the halfway line. Aberdeen backed by around 4,000 supporters, including the shed end off to our left. The United fans, well, about 15 minutes before kick-off there was plenty tangerine and black seats, but they've begun to fill those up. And United, actually, it's one of their favourite fixtures of late. They've only lost one of the last 7. And that was on the opening day of the Premiership season last campaign. But they're on a run of just 1 win in 9. That was against Livingston in the League Cup. They've yet to win a league match this season, and they find themselves coming into this one 5 points adrift at the bottom of the table after that Kilmarnock win over St Johnstone in midweek. And Killie host Hearts tomorrow, looking to move further away if they can capitalise on anything United drop this evening. The Dons 5 points better off than they were after 8 games last season, so there is an improvement there. But they've only won 2 of the last 25 away league games. Both of those came at McDermott Park. And clean sheets wise has been an issue for them as well. In league games, just 6 clean sheets in their last 50 games. They need to tighten that up if they are to challenge for a top 3 position this season. They can go top 4 tonight with a victory. The United team, 4 changes from the side that lost to St Johnstone here last week. It's Eriksson in goal, Smith, Edwards, McMahon, Freeman and BH wide, Sibbald, McGrann, Levitt supporting Middleton and Watt. For Aberdeen, 1 change, Scales in for Kennedy, Roos in goal, Richardson, Stewart, Scales and Coulson across the back, Watkins, Ramadani, McCrory and Hayes, Bizowan supporting Miovski. Bit of smoke drifting across the pitch because of the pyrotechnics going off in the shed end just a couple of minutes ago. But we're just about ready to go. Willie Collum has the ball in his hand, and he will place it on the centre spot, and Aberdeen will kick off. They're going to shoot down the hill in the first half in their change colours: white shirts, black shorts, black socks. United in their tangerine and black will shoot towards the shed in this first half. The 6 o'clock kick-off, there's going to be a lot more of these, I think, if certain club chairmen in this country have their way. If I look off to my right, I can see the Aberdeen chairman sitting beside their director of football, Stephen Gunn, and to his left, the Dons boss, Jim Goodwin, who begins the first of this 6-game ban with 2 on top of that, which are suspended until the end of this season. Slight delay to kick off because of the aforementioned pyro which landed on the pitch in the Aberdeen penalty area, which Roos stands in right in front of the Aberdeen support. There might well have been some delayed coming into Dundee. There was an accident just north of the city which was causing delays and reroutes, as the Flames now appear to have been doused over there. Hibs moving into 3rd spot in the Premiership. Aberdeen can't leapfrog them. A win would put them to within a point of the Edinburgh team, who defeated 10-man Motherwell at Easter Road earlier this afternoon. It was what had been an action-packed afternoon across the Cinch Scottish Professional Football League today, and with Kilmarnock Hearts to wrap it all up tomorrow afternoon live here on Sportsound. But all eyes, all ears on Tannadice, and Willie Collum gets the game underway. Miovski rolls it back to Scales, who turns it to Hayden Coulson, and he moves it to Ramadani just outside the centre circle. Who will make the brighter start? Ramadani's long ball looking for Watkins, sails all the way through to Carl Johan Eriksson, and Willie Miller. Dundee United very much in need of a boost.
Well, there's no doubt about that. Particularly at home, I think you want to try to keep the fans with you. Try to have
That's a good ball, Middleton, and then there's a header just wide by McGrath, who's been linked with a move to Aberdeen for seemingly eternity, and this time as the ball was whipped in from the left, it's a great ball. McGrath attacked it, kind of off the back of his head, I think, and flew past that right-hand post. 0-0, but the first chance for United.
I don't know why he's not headed it properly. He's kind of turned his head. It was a great cross from Middleton, left-hand side of the pitch, and it was, perfect height for him too. And he seemed to get the run on, the fullback, Coulson, and he's turned his head and it's come off the side of his head by the post. It wasn't too far away, actually, even coming off the side of his head. If he gets that with a forehead, big chance.
Right start for the Tangerines, Michael.
It's a sort of cross into the box coming in at the back post. You would see Stephen Fletcher putting his head on that and sticking it in the back of the net, but McGrath's it's obviously it's not part of his game that is he's as comfortable with as somebody like Fletcher. He's somebody that's a really good technician, but he's, as Willie was saying there, off the back of his head, when really it was there to just go and be attacked.
Long ball from Roos, goes over the head of Watkins and out for a United throw-in level with their 18-yard line on this main stand side, Jerry Kerr stand side of the stadium, and it's Scott McMahon who is over this. Dundee United in a run of 4 successive defeats here at Tannadice. They haven't lost 5 home games in succession since February 1938. That was in the second tier. It's never happened to them as a top flight club. As Watkins moves it forward towards Miovski, who fouls Ryan Edwards, and that will be a free kick to United just outside their own box to the left-hand side of it. Very early in the game here, 2 minutes in, nothing each.
Not too sure if there was much contact there. I think it's the old head, isn't it? And he goes down easily. He finds himself in a situation where Edwards does, where he might have to give away, a throw-in. Majowski gets a little bit too close to him. There is contact. He goes down. Referee will call him.
He's got 8 goals in his 10 appearances for Aberdeen as the Macedonian. As United pick up with Aziz Bic, he's moved into a central area midway inside the Aberdeen half. Rolls it with the right back to the left.
North Macedonian, Liam.
Beg your pardon. Yes, you're right, Michael. I knew I could rely on you to correct me. United come forward, little flick towards the edge of the Aberdeen box is cut out now. Coulson has it and he rolls it to Ramadani, who's had it pinched off him by McGrath. Looks up at the Aberdeen box, looks up at the goal, and he scuffs a left-footed effort straight at Kelarus, who holds on. But Aberdeen very fortunate on that occasion. This time it's Ilber Ramadani who was caught napping by McGrath.
And again, in my book, he's got the ability to do much better than what he did there. He's kind of mishit the shot. He's got Middleton he could have put in down the left-hand side, but I think the shot was on, just it was a poor effort.
Choked it a little bit. It's interesting to see, Dundee United set up. Undoubtedly they're playing with the back 5 or back 3, whatever you want to call it, and then in the midfield they've got Sibbald and Levitt sitting, and then McGrath and Middleton in behind Tony Watt. But we've already seen McGrath is getting himself into some dangerous positions, and Middleton, that he'll drift from that inside position out wide, try and get to the byline, put crosses into the box. The crucial thing for Dundee United is that they're solid and they don't give anything away at the back, because that has been their Achilles heel. They've conceded far too many goals. It doesn't matter how many good attacking players you've got, if you keep conceding goals, you're never going to win the games that this side really should be winning.
Brilliant run by McCrory down this near side, but equally the tackle was excellent from Ryan Edwards. Read the danger, came from his more central location. He slides in and puts it out for an Aberdeen throw-in level with the edge of the centre circle in the United half. There's no doubt United have made the brighter start. 4.5 minutes in, Jamie McGrath managed a handful of goals against Aberdeen in St Mirren colours a couple of seasons ago under Jim Goodwin. As the Dons pick up with Ramadani, he moves it right to left of the circle. Coulson, who's driving towards the United box now, looks up at the penalty area. His attempted shot there is cut out and goes out for a throw-in over there down by the corner flag for Aberdeen, over on the George Fox side of the stadium, as McGrath blocked it. It was a good run by Coulson, who is impressed by and large. His short throw-in finds Vicente Bizawan, who's lost it on the far side. Aberdeen get it back through Scales, who got there ahead of Tony Watt. Rolled into Ramadani, side foot ball, McCrory at the edge of the box, encouraged to shoot by the Aberdeen fans. Doesn't do that though, and he moves it back out wide left for Hayden Coulson. Short to Bizaun, to Coulson again, and now he's had it nicked off him by Jamie McGrath, who's keen to impress tonight, and he's driving his team forward again down that right-hand side on the counter. Down he goes. Willie Collum gives United the free kick over on the far side. Foul by Coulson. Good break by United, but it's Jamie McGrath who's making the difference for the home team in these early minutes, almost 6 in, and he's been at the forefront of all the positivity for United.
Yeah, it was good play, very good play. Broke up the park with some pace, and when it looked like McCrory was going to come over and sniff out the attack, he showed some nice footwork, cut inside. I wasn't sure whether Willie Collum was going to give the free kick at first. I don't know whether it was actually the linesman that ended up giving it, to be honest, but it's good play from Dundee United, and it gives them an opportunity here to try and test the goalkeeper, another opportunity to throw the ball into the box.
Dylan Levitt's over it. It's almost level with the edge of the D of the Aberdeen box, right-footed. It's flighted in. Stewart doesn't get much onto it, and then it's flicked away. It's only partially clear though from Miovski on his 6-yard line, but then it's lashed high and wide. That goes behind for a goal kick. That was from about 25 yards out. It's Dundee United 0, Aberdeen 0, but United have settled the quicker, almost 7 minutes in.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Stewart's usually pretty powerful in there. You know, that's the first time I think I've seen him not, you know, meet the ball full on and clear, you know, across into the box. He's fortunate that it kind of lands kind of very tamely and easy to defend, and you would expect him, you know, to take note of that and get back to his best in the air, because he is very powerful when crosses come into the box.
McCrory rolling it back to his captain. It's Anthony Stewart to the goalkeeper Roos. The Dutchman short to Scales. Back in the side after his suspension last week. He missed the win over Kilmarnock. A convincing win it was for Aberdeen. Not too much wrong with their Pittodrie form, with the exception of that game against Motherwell. They've been pretty decisive, pretty lethal at home. On their travels, there's been a very different issue. They have been scoring goals no matter where they've been. They've only failed to score once this season, and that was at Celtic Park as Coulson picks up midway inside United territory, but Aberdeen have a man down, and it was off the ball as well. And midway inside the United half, just waiting to see if the medical team is going to have to come on here.
Is it Johnny Hayes?
It's Hayes, yeah.
I think he's holding his groin or the front of his thigh. You know, that's not looking too good for Johnny, although, you know, sometimes he does go down and bounces pretty quickly back up, and it is okay, but must be a little bit concerning.
Yeah, well, he's back on his feet just now, Mikey.
Yeah, he doesn't look particularly comfortable. I don't know whether it's maybe his hand, you know,
his shoulder.
Aye,
he has had
something to do with his arm, because I totally understand what you were saying in regards to holding his thigh or whatever, but I think it was his arms just in that area. It looks as if it's his arm, his hand, or rather than it definitely looks like his shoulder there.
Yeah, he's had problems with that shoulder in the past.
Well, he missed the League Cup final, didn't he, in 2014 because of it. Peter Pollitt didn't play because of injury. He's on the bench as Aberdeen come forward down the left-hand side. Coulson's cross gathered comfortably by Eriksson in the 6-yard line. One thing's for sure, Hayes will only come off if he has to. 9 minutes in, 0-0. And it's in the hands of the Dundee United goalkeeper.
Are you suggesting that some players don't...
Is that what you took from that, was it, Mikey?
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
They come off when they don't need to.
Okay, got you. As United pick up with McGrath, rolling it back the way to Smith, out wide right, flicked on there down that right-hand side. Craig Sibbald picks it up and then tries to push it back out towards Freeman, but it's cut out and ends up back with Gela Roos, who has it and plays it short to Stewart. Out to Jayden Richardson, the summer arrival from Nottingham Forest, and Stewart rolls it back to his goalkeeper again. Approaching 10 minutes.
That's the key thing for Aberdeen, is that Coulson over on the left-hand side, Richardson down on the near side with us. They need to be quick and they need to get the ball out to the fullback. The fullbacks are the out ball against the Dundee United side, the way that they've set up. But if they're ponderous in their play, then they'll be not able to get those balls into those areas, because Dundee United will be able to shuffle across. So they need to be quick, side to side, get some penetration in the wide areas, and that's where they'll get some joy in the game.
Aberdeen in possession. Ramadani on the halfway line, fires it right of the circle for McCrory. Showed a little bit too much of it there to Levitt as it goes out off McCrory for a United throw-in on this near side. Level with the edge of the centre circle. And right down below where we stand in the gantry, and it's Scott McMahon over the throw. One of 4 changes made by Liam Fox for this game. It's flicked on by Watt. Middleton controls, good play from him. Turns, drives down the left. Ramadani gets there first though, and he swivels and boots it up the line. Watkins might have got the slightest touch to Miovski. Now it's back with Watkins driving forward, but runs into Levitt and it goes out for an Aberdeen throw-in. Watkins claiming to Willie Collum that he'd had his shirt pulled there. It's a throw-in only though to Aberdeen on this near side, which Richardson bowls back to Stewart.
He's been impressive, Ramadani, since coming to the club, and I think he goes under the radar and he doesn't get the applause that he should get in my book. He's that deep line midfielder. He's always available. He's that valve in midfield where if you're not going anywhere, he's always going to be available to you.
Bazowan with a long ball into the box. Goalkeeper's nowhere, and a big chance for Miovski just behind him, and it bounces off his heel and behind for a goal kick. Richardson met it on the near side. He pulled it back across, and Miovski puts it past. It's a big opportunity for the Dons, but what on earth was Carl-Johan Eriksson up to?
Good question. It's terrible, and that is the problem for Dundee United. You can talk about all the good play up until this point. They should have been 1-0 down, and you're 1-0 down, confidence is low, you make a terrible mistake like that, it just feels like it's Groundhog Day. You cannot defend like that and have any aspirations of getting up the table. Miovski, I think, was just caught on his heels, and it's his right foot rather than his left, and they've let Dundee United off the hook there big time.
It's an open goal, isn't it? I mean, it's totally an open goal. If he actually takes a touch with whatever part of his body and just kills the ball, he taps it into the back of the net. Eriksson, I mean, it's a ball that surely you just come out and you take it as highest point. It wasn't even a difficult ball cross, in my opinion, anyway, to defend as a goalkeeper.
No. Oh, I mean, you've got to make the decision. You come and collect, you just stay in your flaming goal. It's incredible. It was like he was chasing it. Never getting close to it.
He kind of comes out and then he kind of makes it's not a U-turn, but it's a bend it, and then he decides, no, I'm not getting it. And then Richardson just tucks it into Miovski, and unfortunately from an Aberdeen point of view, he doesn't control it. If he controls it in any shape or form, it's a first goal.
I just wonder whether he was caught on his heels, because when Richardson got it, I don't think Richardson was expecting that he was going to get either. It just almost bounced off him, and then it bounced off Miovski's foot, and he's caught on his heels. It's a huge let-off for Dundee United.
It's a big chance for Aberdeen without question, as Coulson picks up and rolls it back to Scales. Bazowan felt he'd been fouled by Sibbald there. Aberdeen play on, little back heel from Miovski, but he doesn't find Hayes. Liam Smith gets it back to his keeper, and Eriksson clears out for an Aberdeen throw-in. The Dons have settled now after the opening flurry in the first 5 minutes or so from the home team, but in the 14th minute it's goalless. And Stewart plays it short to Ilber Ramadani, who's moving up towards the centre circle. Plays it into United half, left of that for Bazowan. He's got Coulson on the touchline. Bazowan moves it infield instead to Ramadani. It's a delicate chip ball, but it's going to go over the head of Watkins and right through to Eriksson, who must have been breathing a massive sigh of relief, because when Richardson touched that across his goal, he must have thought Aberdeen were going to go 1-0 up, and it would have been all his fault. 14 minutes in, it remains though United 0, Aberdeen 0.
You're right, he'd have been breathing a huge sigh of relief, but just watching the last couple of minutes there, Ramadani's been able to get on the ball a lot more. Dundee United are not really picking him up as well as they were in the first few minutes. It was almost as if when Aberdeen were trying to build the game, Tony Watt as the central striker was dropping into him, and the two guys behind him were pressing a little bit higher at times. But as the game started to unfold, Ramadani's getting a little bit more space, and he's able to take the ball in comfortably and start the build the game for Aberdeen.
Surely they're not going to ask Tony Watt to come back onto Ramadani. I can't see that as being a tactic that's going to work. Surely one of the midfield players. How many midfield players do you want in a team?
But the problem is the way that they're structurally set up. You've got Sibbald and Levitt who are deeper, and then they've got Middleton and McGrath who are playing in to out. Nobody's really directly in that area.
Watkins has a go from just outside the box, but it's not really got any accuracy or power in the shot, and it goes trickling past the right-hand post, but it's good signal of intent from Marley Watkins, who's had to bide his time to get his opportunity this season in the starting 11. Indeed, he and Christian Ramirez seem to be completely and utterly frozen out of Jim Goodwin's team. Ramirez did get some minutes last week late on against Kilmarnock.
I would suggest if you don't get someone on Ramadani, then he's just going to run the show. And if that's going to be your main striker at home, dearie me, I think Liam Fox has got to find a better way of dealing with the Aberdeen midfield. Because I think if that continues, then he's good enough, and he's got enough vision, and he'll be wanting the ball all the time, and he'll just control it and pull the strings there.
United free kick. Just about 6 yards inside the Aberdeen half, right-hand side. Jamie McGrath over it. There's a foul by Vicente Bezauen. The scores are blank up to this point. Almost 16 and a half minutes played. McGrath, low delivery to Middleton, right-hand side of the box. Middleton rolling it back to McGrath, takes a touch, right foot cross ball into the Aberdeen box. It's an awkward one. Stewart flicks clear, only as far as Sibbald. Weak ball back into the areas, picked up by McCrory, who glides out of defence, and eventually he's upended, and that's a free kick to Aberdeen.
I thought he'd ridden the tackle. I thought he could have kept going, and at that point it was a bit of a break on for Aberdeen. When he went down, I was expecting him to be injured. I thought he'd maybe twisted his ankle or something, but he bounced right back up. I was surprised that McCrory didn't keep driving forward.
Ross McCrory was the deputy in defence last week during Liam Scales' one-match suspension. Always much more effective in the middle of the park as Coulson finds Hayes. His little touch back goes straight to Sibbald, though now it's Levitt, but his pass goes straight to Coulson. Watkins to Miovski, to Watkins. Coulson takes over. He prods it back to Hayes. He moves it into the centre circle for Stewart.
Aberdeen are taking control of this game. You now see Dundee United's midfield are becoming very flat. Middleton and McGrath are getting pushed into the wide areas because, as I was explaining, the fullbacks are on all day long, and now it becomes very much like a 5-4-1. And Ramadani's still got a pocket of space.
Scales out to Bezauen over on the far side, and it's pulled back to Ramadani. Just outside the centre circle, low ball. McCrory's first time ball to Miovski, who turns and shoots, blocked by Edwards. Breaks to Ramadani, out wide left, it's Coulson, whips the ball in, the header from Miovski's wide. It just evaded Watkins, and it stays Dundee United 0, Aberdeen 0 on 18.
Yeah, and it's a good run towards the back post from Watkins, who's been impressive, both at Pittodrie when he started the game last week and the beginning of this game too. Decent enough cross into the box, but one that you would expect the central defenders to deal with, and they didn't. Nothing came of it. It's a header from 18 yards, but it's still concerning in terms of your central defence not being able to clear headers. I thought Stewart was much better with a header into the box just a little bit earlier. That's more like the kind of a player he's been since coming to the club.
The United face 9 crucial games between now and the World Cup hiatus. Back-to-back home matches against Aberdeen tonight, Hibernian next week, before trips to Ross County and St Mirren, either side of their League Cup tie, as Richardson drives forward down this near side. He's up to about level with the edge of the D of the United penalty area, loses out. There was 2 around him, it's Aziz Beyich, he comes away with it, and then Ramadani covers across and he puts it out of play for a throw-in to United on this near side. Of course, that Hibs game's actually here on Tuesday evening, 7:45 kickoff, and all the Champions League hullabaloo going on around it. There will be that big game here at Tannadice. Throw-in, McMahon pulls it up the line, headed out by Stewart for another throw-in, level with the edge of the centre circle. It's in Aberdeen territory, and it's Beyich who's over it, the veteran Australian international. He's actually going to leave it for McMahon. So no goals, a little bit of a lull out there right now. The 20-minute mark approaching. Tony Watkins, the header back to Beyich. He manages to force it forward to Middleton. towards Watt, who slips, and Aberdeen allowed to clear on that occasion. Ryan Edwards' header goes straight to Hayden Coulson, who lashes it forward with the left foot. That's going to come all the way through to Eriksson. Can you imagine Coulson spotted Eriksson off his line and decided he was going to smash it as far as he could in the hope he would get it on target, as McGrath rolls it back to Edwards. Edwards with the right foot, long ball forward. Scales is underneath it. His header goes out for a United throw-in over on the far side. 0-0.
You think that Hayden Coulson was trying to lob the goalkeeper?
What do you think? What do you think he was doing?
He was about 30 yards from his own goal.
So what was he doing then?
Good question. He just lumped up the park. I think he could have actually shown a bit of composure and tried to pick a pass out. He was just clearing his lines. And
he was under no pressure. He's not clearing his lines.
Well, exactly, Liam. That's why I thought it was a bit of poor play from him. I thought he could have and should have perhaps been taking an extra touch and try to find a pass. He certainly wasn't trying to lob the goalkeeper.
I thought it was rash play if I could come in between.
Yeah. Why don't you? Mikey's in one of those moods tonight. Here's Tony Watt on the far side, taking on Coulson. He's given it straight to Bazowen. He goes out to play off Freeman for an Aberdeen throw-in just inside United territory over on that George Fox stand side of Tannadice. It's Lee Sharp, the Aberdeen assistant, who is commanding the technical area down there. He's going to be doing that for a while. Jim Goodwin out for the next 6 games, including this one, as Stewart picks up just inside his own half, forward to Miovski, and it goes under his foot. Too much power on the pass, and it's right through with Eriksson, who plays it short to Smith. Liam Smith looks up, right-footed long ball forward, goes straight to Coulson. Steps away from his man over on the far side, McGrath. Willie Collum gives the free kick to United. It was a foul there by Miovski on Edwards. It's got a bit scrappy out there just in these last few minutes. Under the lights, dusk beginning to fall on the city of Discovery, 0-0.
I think United are struggling to get any kind of a pattern going. I'm not too sure of what they're trying to achieve here, you know, with the two inverted wide players. When the space, for me, and it is always going to be with Aberdeen, how far up their fullbacks play, is in behind the fullbacks.
Miovski's pass forward, it was a promising move for Aberdeen, but he's given it straight to McMahon, who clears. It's in the centre circle with Ramadani, who goes in with a tough challenge on Sibbald. Free kick immediately awarded by Willie Collum. And it's just a free kick. We've approached the end of the first quarter of this one. It is nothing each.
Plus, if you're playing with two wing-backs, surely the wing-backs have got to get up the park. So far in the game, the United wing-backs haven't done that. They haven't caused any issues at all for Aberdeen.
Long ball from the free kick by Edwards. He's managed to find Baich, who plays it right across the face of the Aberdeen goal. There's nobody in Tangerine. Coulson gets himself in a bit of a fankle, but he's put it out for a throw-in.
Better. Level
with the 6-yard line for United. It is better from United. Smith's cross ball is headed away by McCrory. Collected by Levitt, first time to Sibbald. Then nick it out to Liam Smith wide on the right. Down the line for Freeman. Freeman's level with the Aberdeen 18. Infield for Tony Watt. The low ball back to Freeman. Down the line, Watt gets it back at the byline, tries to pull it back, and Anthony Stewart puts it out for a throw into United on the far side, level with the Aberdeen penalty spot. United springing to life all of a sudden.
I think what you can see so far is that there is an apprehension and a nervousness to Dundee United in terms of, you know, the position of where the fullbacks.
Smith for the time and the space. He took a touch, he crosses in, and it goes out of play for a United throw-in after it was flicked out of the penalty area. And now it's picked up by McMahon, midway inside Aberdeen territory. Infield to Levitt, he moves it back to Edwards. United's best spell for a little while this.
Yeah, and you know, if they're going to have any ambitions of getting anything out of the game, then they will have to get a wee bit more control of the ball, which will allow their wing-backs to get further up the park. But going back to that point, I think you can see they've lost 4 league games on the bounce at Tannadice. They're trying to make sure that they've got a bit more, or a few more bodies defensively, but also that they've got a bit more of a solid structure there. The key is they're trying to strike the right balance, and at the moment they need to make sure that they can get those players a little bit higher up.
Yeah, you're probably right. Maybe Liam Fox hoping that they'll grow into it. You know, I always concern myself when you play 3 centre backs and you've only got 1 striker to take care of as well. There's got to be a bit of responsibility there. Yep. You know, it doesn't have to be gung-ho, but you know, you either take the ball at the back and play it round that one striker, or even, you know, step into midfield at times too. But I still feel, and as it's shown, you know, in just the last few minutes, if you're going to play with the 5, and you're at home as well, Mikey, you're at home, you're trying to turn it around. They take everything that you're taking it, you know, on board. They are nervous. Liam Fox doesn't want to chuck this one away early. They want to grow into the game. They need to grow into it, and they need to get their wing backs further forward.
25 minutes played. United 0, Aberdeen 0. It is Liam Smith on the ball for the home team. He's been robbed though by Johnny Hayes, and then right in front of Willie Collum, he brings down McCrory in the centre circle, and the referee wants to speak to the United number 2.
Well, I think he's fortunate. I think he's
yellow.
lucky to get away without a booking there, and you know, he took a, or I'm not sure he actually took a heavy touch. He just got the ball nicked off him, and then he tried to make the challenge to recover the ball, and he quite clearly caught, was it Ramadani in the middle of the park?
It was McCrory.
McCrory, yep. Here's Watkins for Aberdeen on this near side. Low ball infield to Hayes. Tries to flick it forward to McCrory. Ramadani wins it back momentarily, but it's Edwards who clears. Low ball to Glenn Middleton. He set up Jamie McGrath for a really good opportunity in the opening minute of the game. Here come United down the left. BH with the pass. Watt wins it off Stewart. He's level with the 6-yard line. Down by the corner flag in the near side. Moves towards the box. Rolls it back to Levitt, right-footed, back out to Aziz BH, takes a touch, crosses in, a decent delivery. Michaela Roos holds on in the 6-yard line, and it stays at Dundee United 0, Aberdeen 0, and the Dons away in a rapid counter here. Roos with the long throw to Hayes on that far side. He's away from Sybil, good play. Time to pick out a cross here, floats it into the area. It's too high for everyone, and he goes out for a throw-in on the reverse side, this near side for Dundee United, and it remains 0-0. Johnny Hayes will be disappointed with that, or disappointed that nobody's gotten the end of it, because that was a really good opportunity on the counter in the 27th minute. It's 0-0. I think Ilber Ramadani is down, and he needs medical treatment by the looks of things. That's off the ball as well, at least it is. And when he went down in the pitch, the ball was nowhere near him.
Didn't see anything, you know, in terms of contact or whether he's pulled anything, but the physios are on. Yeah, Johnny Hayes did really well. I think he would be disappointed with the cross. You know, it's one of these, you know, tame crosses into the box. Yeah, he's looking for someone, you hang it up there, but to be perfectly honest, very easy to defend against. See if he takes it and drills it across the face, in between defenders and goalkeeper. Now that's a dangerous cross.
It was good play, really good play. Dundee United actually were no bad going forward as well. Beach played a nice ball down the line for Tony Watt, and it looked as if they were then going to be able to build something. But it's good to see that, you know, when the ball eventually goes into Aberdeen's possession, it's the reaction to go and break as quickly as they did. And Johnny Hayes facing Sybil up, thought it was a really nice bit of play where he just knocked it past them one way and run round the other. And I'm absolutely 100% in agreement with Willie that just thought he could have fizzed it across or even whipped it. It was just hung up, and if you're going to hang it up, you've really got to make sure that it's dropping in the middle in between the posts, that somebody's got to deal with it. He just got too much height on it and it drifted away to nothing.
Ramadani's going to be okay to continue. He wanted to come back onto the pitch before the throw-in was taken. He was swiftly lectured by Willie Collum, teacher by trade of course, knows how to give out lectures. And Scales knocks it up high into the air, and it comes off the head of Freeman, straight to McCrory, who heads it forward. It comes off the head of McMahon, then Watkins. When it settles for McMahon, if you can call it that. In fact, he's not been able to prevent it from going over the line. It's an Aberdeen throw-in level with the D of the Dundee United penalty area. It remains goalless at Tannadice in the 29th minute of the game. It's with Anthony Stewart, who rolls it into the centre circle for Scales. Left-footed low ball out to Coulson, just inside the United half, and out is with the returning Ramadani. Square to Stewart, back into the centre circle for Scales again. Out to Hayden Coulson. He's on loan from Middlesbrough. He's been pretty good, it has to be said. He's come off injured a couple of times. Still in the infancy of his Aberdeen career. And Scales shifts it left to right of the circle for Stewart. Short ball to Ross McCrory, approaching the half hour. The Dons being patient here as Stewart plays it back into the circle for Scales. He's moving forwards and then turns it back. He was a scorer here last season, Liam Scales, in Celtic colours, his parent club. Rolled out to the touchline for Coulson, to Hayes, to Coulson. Lovely interchange, Bazawan gives him it back, down goes Coulson. Fouled by McGrath, and the first yellow card of the game goes to the Dundee United midfielder McGrath, and Aberdeen have a free kick, and I think Coulson's felt that one. He was burned away from McGrath, driving to the edge of the penalty area. 30 minutes played, 0-0. Aberdeen have a free kick.
I don't know whether he's been caught like on the Achilles or whether it was straight on the ankle, but clearly is a sore one for Coulson. Great play from Aberdeen though, you know, really nice bit of injection of pace into the attack, movement off the ball, and as you said there, Liam, quite correctly, for once that Coulson was driving into the box really well.
You know, you don't have to be inflammatory every time you speak. Not every time. Free kick to Aberdeen then, and it's about level with the edge of the D. Willie, this is a good opportunity to flight the ball into the United penalty box.
Yeah, I actually thought that it was by him, you know, when he went down. I wasn't too sure.
That's why I thought it was maybe his Achilles.
Yeah, it was almost, you know, into the back of his heel, which you're right, is his Achilles.
That was the same.
They still call it Achilles, do they, in the modern day game?
I think so, yeah.
Just, a lot of these names have changed over the years. Anyway, it was a bit of a nasty one from McGrath.
I was like you, I thought he was past him.
Yeah, I thought he was. Good play though, good play in a dangerous situation, and Bissawin, I think it is, and Johnny Hayes over the ball.
Yeah, it was a good interchange out, little triangle of passes over on that far side touchline. Earlier today, wins for Celtic, for Hibs, for Ross County, for Rangers. 0-0 here, approaching 32 minutes. Tomorrow, it's Kilmarnock against Hearts. The final action of the SPFL weekend, which began with a Cali Thistle win over Partick Thistle in the Championship last night. bbc.co.uk/Sports Scotland if you want to get across today's scores and reports as Aberdeen prepare to take this free kick. Hayes with the left, Bissawin with the right. It's Bissawin who plays it in. It's way too close to Ericsson's back post, and the keeper clutches onto it, and it stays Dundee United 0, Aberdeen 0. The quality in the final third has been lacking from Aberdeen. Perhaps shaded it slightly against United as Watkins picks up on the near side. McMahon gets it away from him, but it's put it down the line towards his own goal, and it goes out for a throw-in on this near side, a bit level with his own 6-yard line for Aberdeen. And Jayden Richardson's coming over to take. 32 played, 0-0.
Yeah, Liam, when you get a free kick like that, you want to take advantage of it. You don't want to just throw the opportunity away. You know, you might not get too many opportunities. So, you know, Bissawin's got to do a lot better than that.
Richardson over the throw in front of the Tannadice tunnel, short to McCrory. Back to Richardson, steps away from one, couldn't get away from the second, who was McMahon, who gets the touch. Levitt moves it forward to Middleton, and Willie Collum gives United a free kick down below us here, to the disgust of the Aberdeen supporters who are down below us in the stand. The Jerry Kerr and the Fair Play stands down below us and off to the left, and also Aberdeen supporters in the shed this evening as McMahon prepares to take this free kick for the home team. 12 minutes to half-time. A couple added on at the end because of injury stoppages as Levitt nicks it forwards. A long ball. McGrath's got goal side. Out comes Kayla Roos, who makes the challenge. Scales clears. The United fans appealing for a penalty over on that far side. But how did Jamie McGrath get goal side of the defender there?
That was a wonderful ball from Dylan Levitt. I think the angle of the ball just caught the defence by surprise. Liam Scales just caught out a little bit.
Here come United down the right with Smith. His
the
ball's cut out now for United throw-in.
And Roos comes out as well. You know, I think the goalkeeper sees the danger, but I still think that that Liam Scales has got it under control, and he comes out and he makes it an opportunity. You know, McGrath goes down. First of all, the referee's got to make a decision on that. Now, I didn't see any contact at all, and I think he was right not to give, you know, and nobody claimed for the penalty. But if he stays on his feet, that ball's loose. It's a chance in the box. It's another goalkeeping error, and it's poor defending from Scales as well.
They've got a chance here, Willie, Dundee United. There's a foul by Coulson. It's almost at the right angle of the Aberdeen box. So this is a chance to put the Dons defence under serious pressure here. A defence that has struggled for a couple of years now to keep clean sheets in this division. They've got an opportunity here, the United. And it comes from McGrath. It's in the 6-yard area. It's bobbling around, and then Kayla Roos puts it behind for the corner. Seemed panic-stricken. United corner.
It's well taken though, isn't it? It's into a really dangerous position. I think it comes off Stewart's head, does it? Off the side of his head. It's not defended particularly well. I didn't see a controlled header. I think it was more of a deflection that took it by the post.
United corner from their right hand side. It's taken short by McGrath this time. Chip ball comes in from Smith. It's deep. It's a header towards goal by Middleton, which is held on to by Roos. In the centre of his goal, Middleton slapping his hands in frustration, which tells you he probably feels he should have done a bit better with that. It's difficult for him to generate power in the way the ball came to him. 35 and a half played. United 0, Aberdeen 0. Aberdeen free kick as Richardson's fouled on this near side by BH.
A good bit of play from, well, not so much good play, but good moments there for Dundee United to feel like, there is something there. It's a game that started to sort of drift into a little bit of evenness. Aberdeen were on top there, but they've drifted back out of it a little bit. Dundee United have started to pose a few more threats, and at the moment you've got to say that it's anybody's game. 0-0.
Yeah, it's very even, very equal at the moment, as Eriksson picks up and clips it with the right foot to BH. Under no pressure on this near side. BH driving across halfway. Middleton for company on the touchline. That's where it goes. Middleton looking to work it back to the Aussie. Blocked by Ramadani, but then Levitt gets it chested forward there by McGrath into the Aberdeen box. Stewart clears, but there's a flag up over on that far side. It will stay Dundee United 0, Aberdeen 0 here, the league's bottom side. Dundee United eager to not be cast further adrift at the bottom of the Premiership by the time the weekend is done. Possession-wise, Aberdeen enjoying round about 60% of it right now, but there's only been one shot on target the whole match, and it was Jamie McGrath's scuffed effort, which was comfortably held on to by Kela Roos. But we'd have to say Aberdeen have missed the most glorious opportunity when Richardson played it across the face of goal. Miovski, open goal, missed the opportunity after Eriksson had been caught out by the cross ball. And it stays Dundee United 0, Aberdeen 0 here at Tannadice under the lights this Saturday evening, 8 minutes from the interval, at least from the end of the 45, as Richardson finds Ramadani's on the turn, plays it with the right foot back to Scales and out to the left hand side for Coulson. Seems okay after that foul on him by McGrath earlier on. Scales moves it, switching it left to right to Stewart, to Richardson, who goes back to his goalkeeper. The Aberdeen fans wanted that going forward rather than back the way by the sounds of that. Long ball by Roos.
I think it was a poor ball from Richardson. He was a bit, quick and rash in playing that ball back. I think he panicked a little bit. He could have perhaps just lifted his head, found another pass to go forward, or just shifted the ball. It was just as if, well, there wasn't anything immediately on. I need to go back to the goalkeeper, and it wasn't exactly straight back to him either.
Vicente Bazao, and he's been quiet, relatively speaking, in this first half. Short to Watkins. He's in the central area, rolls it to Richardson, right central area for him. Out wide right now for McCrory. McCrory with the left foot, it's a floaty ball which is easily headed away by Freeman, albeit it's not a good header. Straight to Coulson, out wide left Bazowan. Right foot, chip ball comes in, headed away by Edwards. Good header as well, he was under pressure from Miovski, and then it goes out for an Aberdeen throw-in level with the Dundee United 18-yard line on this near side.
That was no bad bowling from Bazowan, and I've got to be honest, it's one of the first times I think I've seen him in the game. He's not been able to do a great deal, he's not impacted the game. He shifted it there, put a ball in the box where, as you said there, Liam, that the defenders really were having to deal with that because Miovski was lurking.
Yeah, he's actually in the match day programme this evening. Ryan Edwards talking about his good record against Aberdeen. Of course, scored in their 3-0 Scottish Cup quarter-final win at Pittodrie a couple of seasons ago, early in the Stephen Glass era. As Bazowan picks up and plays it infield to Ramadani, who gets it back from Coulson. He's on the halfway line, rolls it along the halfway line to McCrory. Less than 6 left of the 45. Down goes Watkins, no free kick. United now will try and spring Aberdeen here with Middleton down this near side. It comes off Ramadani and out for a United throw-in. It's about level with the edge of the D of the Aberdeen box this time. There's really nothing between them.
No, there isn't. I'm surprised at that one though. I thought Watkins would have got a free kick. Looked as if he'd got his body in.
Throw-in instead to United as his BH is over it. And I think he's stolen a few yards, Willie Collum, just ushering him back to the place where the throw-in should have been taken, which was about 5 inches away. Here is Bates, short to Levitt, and out wide left for McMahon. Short ball to Bates again, and he plays it off Watkins and gets another throw-in for United. It's perhaps not been the classic we were hoping to see so far.
No, but you can see there's been a lot of work done by Liam Fox defensively, the way they retreat, the shape that they've got. You know, Tony Watt coming back into midfield as well and helping out, and they're making it really difficult for Aberdeen, you know, to get any creativity going.
Brilliant ball by Edwards, floating it out to Freeman on the far side. He's still on it up against Coulson, gets away from Coulson but not from Hayes, who's down by the corner flag. Johnny Hayes trying to prevent the corner here. Freeman trying to win one off the Irishman. Still in play down on the quadrant, and eventually Hayes puts it out for a United throw-in. It's a bit level with the Aberdeen penalty spot over on that far side. The clock ticking down towards half-time, 0-0. Here come United down the right into the box, down by the byline, pull back to Watt, good save Russ, but the rebound's in! Aziz Bates has knocked it home from just about 6 yards out. Calamity for Aberdeen at the back. It's been the story for them for the last couple of seasons, and Aziz Bates was there to lash the ball home for his first Dundee United goal, and it could be a huge one for the Terrors. Dundee United 1, Aberdeen 0.
Yeah, definitely poor defence. I think it was Johnny Hayes, was it? He get turned on the byline, and then the ball. Once that happens, you get a player inside the box, and he's looking up and he sees Tony Watt. Tony Watt takes up, you know, a great position too. Really difficult. He goes back the part. He has the strike at goal. Decent save from Roos, but BH following in right up there, you know, making sure he's in a dangerous position and slots it home.
Crucial time to get a goal as well. You know, talking about Dundee United starting the game very deep, the wing backs being in there and they need to get further forward. They've built themselves into the game, and that is the perfect end to the first half for Liam Fox. It's exactly what he would have been hoping for. And the game, as we've already mentioned, was very much in the balance, even, and for Dundee United to get in at half-time 1-0 up is absolutely perfect for them.
That's just Dundee United's 5th league goal of the season. That's been a huge issue. Defensively, it's been a massive problem, but they are not scoring goals either. They are now, though, and Aziz Bates is off the mark for his new club, and it comes with just about 2.5 minutes left. And Willie, as far as Aberdeen are concerned, it will now be, as far as league games are concerned, just 6 clean sheets in their last 51. This isn't a new problem for them.
It isn't, and this season, you know, it's been all about going forward. It hasn't been about defending. You know, any games I've watched Aberdeen, you know, you can't say that there's been a lot of work done on them defensively. In fact, you know, most of the times they leave themselves quite well open. But it's about this, with Richardson going forward, Coulson on the other side going forward as well. But they didn't defend the goal line there, you know, hitting that byline and being able to cut it back for Tony Watt to get a strike at goal. You know, and they survived that one because it's a good save by Kel Roos. And then you've got the wing back falling up in exactly the position he's got to be.
Here's Bazoun for Aberdeen at the other end. It's another poor ball in though from the Dutchman, and it's easily gathered by Eriksson in his 6-yard area. What a huge moment that is for Dundee United. Without a league win all season, this is their 9th go at it. They were so close in the opening day at Kilmarnock, denied late on. But here they have a lead. A position in the league that they've not been in terribly often this season. And also those 9-0 and 7-0 towellings at the hands of Celtic and AZ. But they are in front here against Aberdeen as we knock on half-time. We're about to go into minute 45. In fact, we've done that now as the Dons are awarded a free kick deep inside their own half. It's on the edge of their own box. And Tony Watts just kicked the ball at Liam Scales, and yet, well, he's not being put. I thought that was going to be a yellow card, and normally is if you kick the ball away. Watts not yellow carded. He's been given a stern warning though by Willie Collum. And Stewart squares it for Scales, left of the centre circle and across halfway. Low ball out to Coulson. He's level with the edge of the centre circle in the United half to Ramadani, who's completely fallen out of it after the guys were saying earlier he was dictating things. And Tony Watts away from Scales. Keller Roos has to come out of his box to clear. They're all at sea at the back, Aberdeen, just now. Here's Craig Sybil down the right-hand side. He manages to work it to Freeman. Down to the byline, he gets it in, and Watt scores! What a finish by Tony Watt! And what a finish to the first half by United here! Again, it's terrible from Aberdeen, but what a shot that was from Watt. He smashes it into the top right corner, and the league's bottom side are stepping right up under the lights on this Saturday evening here. It is Dundee United 2, Aberdeen 0, as we go into first half stoppage time.
What a goal! What a goal from Dundee United. And they just showed greater hunger and desire, because when he went over the top to begin with, Kayla Roos has cleared the ball. It's Sybil that gets onto it quicker than anyone else. Drives down the line. Freeman's up in support. Aberdeen are just reactive all the time, too slow. And then gets to the byline again, cut back. And what a finish from Tony Watt. Incredible. You know, for somebody that has not been in fine goal-scoring form for Dundee United, he made no mistake with that. It's dreamland stuff for Liam Fox and Dundee United now.
It's 2 goals in a couple of minutes right at the end of the first half, Willie Miller.
But it's a brilliant goal. You know, I won't go into the defensive side of it just right now, speak about it later on in terms of Liam Scales. But when you hit the byline there and you've got an instinctive striker who comes from a deep position back the way to create the space for himself, and you cut it to him and he strikes it into the top corner, it's brilliant play, but it starts from just a long ball over the top that should be dealt with. Scales doesn't. Roos comes out. You know, United back it up. They win possession again. They hit the byline. They cut it back. They've got a striker there who just finishes it right into the top corner. Brilliant strike.
It's a magnificent goal from Watt. He's got 2 and 2 now. It's taken him a while to get his United career firing. Last week's was just a consolation as they lost here to St Johnstone, but that one has put them 2-0 up against Aberdeen, who are coming down the right-hand side. 2 minutes were added on at the end of the first half. We've just about played that now, as McCrory goes down and the goal kick's been given in the end. That's the 2 minutes of stoppage time, and that is half-time. The Aberdeen supporters boo their side off the pitch, but the United supporters are all on their feet, and little wonder. A dramatic climax to the first half. Aziz Behich scored on 43 on the rebound, prodding home after they'd cut through the Aberdeen defence all too easily. The second goal's pretty similar in the respect it's come from down the right-hand side to the byline. Pulled back for Tony Watt, who has exploded a shot into the top right corner of the net past Kellaroos. It was rippling his net before he knew what was going on. And Dundee United go up the tunnel with a precious 2-goal lead, thanks to that 2-goal salvo right at the last knockings of the first half. Aberdeen with a heck of a lot of work to do. Half-time at Tannadice, the league's bottom side have turned up at last. It's Dundee United 2, Aberdeen 0.
The Scottish Premiership.
From BBC Radio Scotland.
And it's in the back of the net. It's absolutely tremendous.
Hampden Park explodes once again with delight.
Don't miss a moment of the action.
Off the bar and in! What a strike!
What a goal!
Just listen to that roar!
Listen to the biggest games on your digital radio.
Ask your smart speaker to play BBC Radio Scotland Extra.
Or select Scotland Extra from the stations and schedules list on the Sounds app.
My goodness!
Scottish football lives here on BBC Radio Scotland. Well, that one surprised us towards the end of the first half there. Really not much of a game, to be fair. The away side were dominating. Aberdeen were dominating possession there at Tannadice, 63%. 4 shots to United's 7, however. And 5 of the shots from United have been on target. 2 found the back of the net. No shots on target so far for the away side, Tom English. And I think the first thing to say is we'll start with that Tony Watt goal. That was fantastic technique from him, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's an emphatic finish. Great work from Freeman down the right. And when it comes in, he's just, I mean, he's just absolute confidence of a striker who's got 20 goals this season.
Yeah.
He's just let it go first time, and top corner with serious power. That's unstoppable. And it's the game has absolutely come alive, hasn't it? I mean, you know, Tony Watt said during the week that he thought United were too good to go down, And I was thinking at the time, that's a sure. But
yes,
they're proving it here. They're definitely showing what they've got. Different Dundee United team that we've seen all season, pretty much. And you could tell, even though Miofsky has a really, really good chance early on, you could tell that United's work rate and their attitude and their focus is far higher in this game. They're working really, really hard out there.
We said before the game, Michael Stewart, how badly United needed a performance, needed a victory. They're very much on track there. What an end to the first half.
Incredible, it really is. And it'll do a world of good for their confidence and belief that they can, build on it and get something from the game. It's, it's a fine balance for Dundee United after some of the hidings that they've had this season, to try to make sure that they are solid at the back, not giving anything away, but also that they have some sort of threat going forward, and they're not just sitting in and inviting pressure onto them. And it was just feeling like it was going that way a little bit at the start and this halfway through that first period. And then they started to be able to get a little bit of a foothold, started getting further up the park, putting a few balls into the box. But you think of it, just look, there's sliding doors moments where Eriksson misses that ball and Richardson puts it back across the face. If Miofsky puts it in the net, you can just imagine that everything starts to crumble again for Dundee United. The belief, they just think, not again.
Yeah.
And that could be a massive turning point for Dundee United, not just in this game, but for their season as well. Because now they're 2-0 up at half time. That's forgotten about. They're not even thinking about it. And it could easily have been where they were 1-0 down and under a bit of pressure. But for Liam Fox and his players to be going in 1-0, is like what it was looking like, would have been brilliant. To get 2, I mean, that's, as I said in commentary there, it's dreamland stuff for them at the moment.
Yeah, just watching that Miofsky chance again, it just fell awkwardly behind him, Tom, didn't it? It was a fantastic chance, and as Michael said, given the fragility, I'm sure, of United, had Aberdeen gone in front, it would have been a real challenge to the home side.
Probably, yeah, on recent evidence, you'd have to say so. I don't know, it just kind of seemed to get under his feet or whatever. Maybe he wasn't anticipating it coming in. But it was a huge chance for Aberdeen. And, I look at Aberdeen's away record in the league. It's absolutely shocking. They've won 2 of their last 22 away games in the league. And here they're 2-0 down against the bottom of the league team. A team without a win, the only team in the 4 divisions in Scotland without a win. Looks like they're going to get one tonight. Aberdeen, we talk about offensively in recent weeks. They've been good, they've been scoring a lot of goals. That's kind of camouflaged the defensive weaknesses in this team. They exist, and we're seeing them writ large all over that first half.
Well, it was a knockout stat, Willie Miller, wasn't it, from Liam? Just written it down there. 6 clean sheets in 51 games. That's damning for this Aberdeen side, isn't it?
Well, it is, and I think more so when you're away from home as well, the way Jim Goodwin sets his team up, he doesn't change the tactics in terms of making sure or insisting that what they're thinking about mostly is about going forward, and both fullbacks are charging forward and they're leaving gaps in behind as well. And although United for most of the first half didn't look as though they were going to exploit it, they did towards the end of the first half. You've got 2 fullbacks there, Kenny, that aren't particularly good defensively. You've got Coulson on the left and Richardson in the right, and their strengths are going forward. They've got good pace, they've got good feet, they can create opportunities, but United are actually defending really well, and they're defending in numbers. The shape is good. For a home team to be as defensively minded, and I can understand the reasons why, and Mikey's pointed these reasons out earlier on, why Liam Fox has set them up that way. But for him to imagine that setting them up and trying to grow into this game, and maybe, I think his best hope would maybe be getting into the second half and towards the end of the game, still in the game, and then trying to hit Aberdeen in the break. But they've done brilliantly well to get their 2 goals, and 2 very well worked goals and well taken goals, I've got to say too. So Aberdeen have got problems. They've got problems defensively, they've got problems playing away from home, and Jim Goodwin's haven't solved that yet. He's got to look at it. I think at home you know, when the onus is on Aberdeen to go and attack, that they're pretty good at that, and in particular if they get some space to exploit, they're good at it as well. So major problems for the manager. Can't do too much about it sitting in the stand either. So, you know, how they turn this one round in the second half, they've got to look at that forward power that they undoubtedly have, and they've got to, you know, use it more than they did in the first half, because in the first half we didn't see enough of it.
And for United, Michael, just more of the same. Is that a deliberate ploy from Liam Fox to give away so much possession, just soak it up and hit Aberdeen in the break?
Well, I'm not so sure that they would be looking to give up so much possession, and
it's quite a lot, isn't it? You know,
well, I heard you guys.
60. What did I say? 65%.
65%.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got to be honest. Sitting here watching the game, you can see that Aberdeen have got more possession, but I wouldn't have thought it was as much as 65%, to be honest. Mm-hmm. And also, there was a few moments, but it wasn't as if Dundee United were getting cut open. This is it's quite clear for Dundee United, and it's true of any team that are in such a bad run of form, is you've got to be hard to beat. First and foremost, you have to be hard to beat, because the confidence to go and play open and expansive football is not there at the moment. I think this Dundee United side in time are capable of doing it, because I think they've got enough quality players, but when the mentality and the confidence is so fragile, you can't expect them to be able to go and do that. So I think Liam Fox has done the right thing. They're not going to look to dominate the ball, even though they are at home, and they need to basically build their way into it. Now, they've had 2 goals right before half-time, which is more than he could have, hoped for. As Willie was saying there, I think he's absolutely spot on, that they would have been looking to try to just keep the game as tight for as long as possible. Even if they'd taken a point for the game, it would have been something to build on. But to get 2-0 up, of course it's going to be more of the same. More of the same in regards to making sure that they're tough to beat. They've got 2 goals, they're 2-0 up. They don't concede, they win. As simple as that. And that is the big thing for Dundee United. They have conceded far too many goals this season. Cheap goals, rubbish goals to lose. If I was Liam Fox in there in the changing room, the message is, don't give anything away. Mm-hmm. Play the way you've played in the first half. There is a threat going forward. Make sure difficult to beat. Do not give anything away, because the last thing Dundee United need is to gift something to Aberdeen, and Aberdeen's tails will be right up, and again Dundee United's fragility will come to the fore.
I mean, they have the lead now. It's whether, I completely agree with Mikey. Can they hold their nerve now that they've got themselves in front, deservedly so? They haven't won in the league all season. Can they hold their nerve? Especially, you would imagine that Aberdeen will throw something at them at some stage in the second half. Maybe they'll get one back. Do United have the defensive discipline, the concentration to see this through? Because it's a brilliant end to the half. 2 excellently taken goals. And they have Aberdeen on the rack. And, there's it's a double-edged sword having 4,000 away fans in the match. Great if you're ahead, not so good if you're 2-0 down at half-time, because those fans will come after Aberdeen unless they pick it up.
Yeah, especially we're looking at the pictures coming from the stand. Of course, we saw Jim Goodwin before the match, with Charlie Mulgrew's in the stand tonight, a big player for United. Yeah. Fletcher's in the stand for the home side tonight. In terms of the options, Willie, that Jim Goodwin has, he's obviously got Ramirez in the bench. Duke's very capable of coming up with a goal. What do you think he'll be looking at in terms of changes for the second half?
I think he'll be looking at getting more out the players that he had on the pitch. These players that are on the pitch in the first half haven't performed, particularly the ones going forward in terms of being creative. They haven't done enough. I think Watkins has been disappointing. Basawin has been disappointing as well. But the biggest problem is the defence. The defence looked, towards the end of that half, they looked really open and weak. And obviously didn't defend the 2 goals properly. But he's got plenty of options on the bench. He has got Duke, who can play up top, and he can go up and play with Majowski, or he can play up there on his own. I wouldn't imagine he's going to take Majowski off. I think if he's going to make a change, it would to put Duke up there alongside him and possibly go with the 2. Matty Kennedy, I thought, was very unlucky not to start the game, because I thought against Kilmarnock he was very impressive. And of course, we've got the youngster in the midfield, Leighton Clarkson, as well. So he's got options, and I think that's a good thing. He's got a squad there that he's got options that he can change. But for me, defensively, they've been poor in the first half, particularly towards the end, and where they've lost the 2 goals.
Well, one of the things we love about Scottish football is just how unpredictable it is. I don't think many would have seen, certainly at half-time, a 2-0 scoreline for the home side. You look at the 3 o'clock kickoffs, Livingston strong favourites to beat Ross County. County did a number on them this afternoon. So can Aberdeen get back into this one at Tannadice? Let's get back to our commentary team, Michael Stewart, Willie Miller and Liam McLeod.
Aberdeen are making a change for the start of the second half. Connor Barron, who hasn't kicked a ball in earnest this season, will come on. It looks as though he's going to replace Marley Watkins. But Dundee United back out. It is Watkins, that's confirmed. So Barron comes on, Boussaouen moves over to that right-hand side. The start of the second half. It's a long way back from here for the Dons, and it happened so quickly. Lightning it was for United at the end of the first half. Those goals from Bates and Watt, they're 2-0 up as they kick off, and they're coming down the hill as well in the second half. Left to right, tangerine shirts, black shorts, tangerine socks with the black tops. Aberdeen in their change kit of white shirts, black shorts. And immediately Dundee United are going to get a corner right at the start of the second half as they look for a 3rd goal. Less than 20 seconds in to this second period. And this, you would think, would finish the game as a contest if they can find a 3rd goal from Jamie McGrath's corner. Outswinger with the right foot in front of the tunnel off to our right. A hush amongst the Aberdeen supporters. McGrath clips the ball in. It's headed away by Scales. Only as far as Levitt, who turns it back to Smith. Takes a touch, right foot cross coming in now. Diving headed away by Scales. Will be picked up by Middleton. Elects to keep it in play on the far side. Such is his confidence right now, it seems, albeit his cross doesn't match that confidence as he blooms it high over the crossbar and behind for an Aberdeen goal kick. Into the second minute of the second half, and United 2-0 up and looking to capitalise on Willie Miller, what I am sure is a shell-shocked Aberdeen.
I'm sure it is, and I think Middleton might have just should have decided to take the throw in. That was just an awful cross into the box, wasn't it? Connor Barron coming on. I didn't see that one. I'm not too sure what Jim Goodwin's trying to achieve there. Listen, he's a very good player in the midfield. Maybe he feels he needs more control in the midfield area. But for me, I think the biggest problems have been at the back and up top. Oof.
Goalkeeper and Ramadani working a 1-2. Eventually comes to Scales. Here's Coulson. United pressing the game, fancy their chances, and Ramadani was put under pressure, and his pass goes straight to Levitt, who finds Middleton. Here's Dylan Levitt into the penalty area, onto the right, plays it across the face of the goal, and behind it goes for a goal kick. Well, United at 2-0 up don't need any encouragement from the Aberdeen players, but they're trying to offer it in any case.
Ramadani takes the ball well, but for me, he's a bit too static when he's in possession as well. He got that ball off of Coulson, and I felt like he could have and should have driven with the ball. Instead, he was static, he was holding on to it, he was getting closed down off. I think it was Freeman that was putting pressure on him, and then he's rushed into playing a ball across the park, and because he's static, he's not able to generate enough pace to find Barron with it. And credit to Dylan Levitt, he's up on top of it to win it, and you can see quite clearly that the confidence is there for Dundee United. They're a lot more aggressive, they're pressing forward to try to win the ball, and that's the challenge for Aberdeen now. They've given Dundee United a huge lift with falling 2-0 behind it right before half-time.
And Coulson, he's in trouble. McGrath almost pinched it off him on this near side. Coulson gives it away straight to Sybil. Aberdeen don't know what day of the week it is right now. It's Dylan Levitt just outside the centre circle. As he looks for an option to his right, he finds it in Smith. Smith takes a touch, moving towards the Aberdeen box, out wide right for Freeman. Infield to Sybil, to Freeman, it goes back onto halfway for Edwards. Edwards then stroking the ball out to the left to Bates. Is this the same team? Is this the same Dundee United? Pinging balls left to right, right to left, and 2-0 up against Aberdeen. Here's Middleton, left-hand side, cross ball into the box, is cleared by Scales this time.
And winning the second balls and putting Aberdeen under real pressure, suffocating them and not allowing them to be able to lift their head.
And then Stewart slips to the concession of a corner. That sums Aberdeen up right now.
Well, this is what I'm saying in terms of, that's what Aberdeen have got to challenge, that is the challenge that they face now. They're up against a Dundee United side that have got their tails well and truly up. And this is a good Dundee United. You know, their confidence is lower than a snake's belly, but they're 2-0 up now. They have quality in the side, and you can see now they're starting to play with a little bit of belief. It's a big second half for Aberdeen. A lot more difficult challenge than it was at the start of the game.
5th minute of the second half. It's all United here. In comes the clipped corner into the box, headed away by Stewart. It's only half away. Watt volleys for goal, blocked by Coulson. Richardson's header's got more height than distance. Watt with a nodded header to the left-hand side of the Aberdeen penalty area. It's Jamie McGrath, won back by Barron. And now Miovski can't control and goes down, and Sibbald wins it back. United are relentless right now.
You see, you know, Aberdeen are trying to react to that. They're trying to close down as well, and it's going to make for a feisty and interesting second half. And look at the energy from Levitt and Sibbald in the middle of the park there, winning second balls. Went up to Miovski, Sibbald's in there, snapping it, winging it off his toes. Aberdeen can't get out their
They can't, but you know, they're playing, you know, right into the game book of United as well, aren't they? Trying to build it up when it's not really on to build up.
Yep. You know, when you think, see at the start of a game, you want to try and turn the opposition, to stretch it, to get a little bit of space in the middle of the park. The best teams always do it. Now, this is the start of the second half where they're 2-0 down. You've got to try to stretch the game, turn the opposition, and then the players in the midfield will get a little bit of space. As Willie said, and you know, I was touching on it before, they slid the ball into Ramadani in the middle. He was on almost the edge of his box, and he's getting hounded. He's rushed into a pass, and then Levitt's able to win it, and it just feeds into that confidence of Dundee United. Everyone's in front of them.
It's over the head of Freeman, but Smith's going to get there. He puts it up high into the air. Where's this going to drop? Onto the right boot of Liam Smith. Things coming easily for the Dundee United players all of a sudden, but Ramadani wins it back. Now it's with McCrory. Hayes ahead of him. Down the left-hand side for Johnny Hayes. He's behind Freeman. Gets the left foot cross in. It's a decent one, and he can't be met at the back post by Bizawan, who completely missed it. Tell you, he didn't miss the advertising board behind the goal. So he clatters into it, and it stays United 2, Aberdeen 0.
Well, definitely got that threat, Aberdeen, going forward, pace, and you know, great cross this time from Johnny Hayes with the left foot, who whips it right across, you know, to the other wide player, Bizawan, who, you know, goes with his head. Did he really have to go with his head? Is it maybe better trying to, you know, because it is low, it's about hip height there. I don't think he's that desperate that he's got to stretch for it. I think he maybe had the opportunity to go with the boot, but he didn't, and the header was just weak and poor. But as far as Ramadani's down, he needs some more treatment, so it's not looking good for him.
Well, he was down in the first half, wasn't he?
Yes, he was indeed. But getting back to Aberdeen, you start the second half, you're 2-0 down. What's the team talk at half time? Get it into the opponent's half. Let's get them tested. Let's see. This is a team that give away goals. Let's get the first two touches of Kyle Roos, he plays to two centre-backs inside the box. Why? United are up on top. They won back on both occasions, and they put Aberdeen under pressure.
United haven't won a league game since May, and here they are, 2-0 up against a beleaguered looking Aberdeen team. They can't get any consistency going, and they are going to have to make the change. I think Luis Lopez is going to come on. Ilber Ramadani's game appears to be done, and he started the game well enough, Ramadani, but he's faded completely since then, and it was another poor ball for him just before the substitution.
Liam, if it's Duke that's coming on, then that makes more sense, right? But I would have had him on first, and then if you know, Ramadani gets injured, then Barron on second. I think it's upside down, you know, the substitutions.
And this has been forced, obviously.
Yeah, but you know, it's forced that you're putting on a striker and taking a midfield player off when you're coming out at half time, and you put on a midfielder.
He might not be done, Ramadani. I think he's going to try and get back on the pitch. You lead me up the
garden path here, Liam.
No, Duke was standing there. I saw him. He was definitely there, Mikey, wasn't he? You'll back me up, won't you?
I didn't see anything, Liam.
Yes.
That's a surprise.
But if that was in the mind of making the change, then you know, for me, if you're 2-0 down, you want to show. Well, first of all, you want to make it difficult for the opposition. I think two strikers up in this case would have made it difficult. But you want to give your fans a lift. There's 4,000 of them down here.
See that ball that Levitt's just played right there? That's what Aberdeen need to be doing. You know, the ball came in. He knows that it's tight in the middle of the park. He plays one round the corner. It might be to one of his strikers. Brilliant. If not, it's the defender who's under pressure. Well, what happens? Liam Scales puts it out, and Dundee United have got a shy down. You know what? 15 yards or so from the the Aberdeen byline. That's how you create a little bit of territorial pressure.
Yeah. Are you calling it a shy just to make me feel good?
Ah, no, I like it, Willie.
Freeman's over the shy, and he takes it short there to McGrath, nods it back to Freeman. He wins another throw off Johnny Hayes down in this near side. Yeah, Duke has sat back down, so Ramadani is giving it a go, but it's Dundee United on the front foot for most of this second half, which is almost 10 minutes old, and they lead 2-0. Freeman takes it short. Lovely little turn there by McGrath. Left foot cross ball comes in. Headed away by Stewart. Breaks back to Jamie McGrath. He's inside the penalty area. Rolls it to Freeman. Plays it across, blocked by Coulson. There's a shout for handball. It's come off his back there, Hayden Coulson. No question of a penalty as Aberdeen clear out for a United throw-in on this near side. Dundee United of Aberdeen pinned right back up against the ropes here at Tannadice as they defend at the bottom of the slope. And it will be another throw-in here to be taken by Freeman. 55 on the clock. McGrath whips the cross in. Scales puts it behind for the corner. He's looked nervy. He was at fault for the second goal. At least he was one of the Aberdeen players at fault for the second goal. As United get another corner down on this near side. Aberdeen aren't even getting into a position where they can potentially launch a fight back in this game. United are hungry for a third goal here. And Jamie McGrath will take the corner. Outswinger with the right foot again on the near side. He's decided to play it short to Smith. Smith's now level with the penalty spot. Drops the shoulder against Barron. His cross is blocked by Barron, and United have another corner.
Yeah, it's difficult times for Aberdeen, isn't it? The fans are not pleased either, and they're really struggling, and there's a bit of tension within the players themselves. You can see them having a go, Scales and Roos having a go at each other. Sometimes not bad, but I think in this situation, you know, they were blaming each other for not dealing with that cross.
McGrath this time drives the corner in. It's flicked away by Scales, then Mijovski, and then a sliced effort from BH was closer to the corner flag than the goal, and it will be a goal kick to Aberdeen. Are going to make a double change. Duke will come on now, and he is going to replace Coulson, and Leighton Clarkson is just back from a 2-game suspension because of the citation from that challenge in Dingwall. He's missed their last 2 matches, and Leighton Clarkson is going to presumably replace Ramadani as Ross McCrory gets some instruction from Craig Sampson down there. I think Craig Sampson's the man who's in constant dialogue with Jim Goodwin. The headset in the standoff to our right, the director section of the stadium, and it will be Leighton Clarkson who'll come on. It seems to be
it's Bisawan that's coming off.
Bisawan, yeah. Well, he's he had that chance, didn't he, from the Johnny Hayes cross. Aberdeen's only 40 forward in the second half. He didn't get anything on it, and it's Leighton Clarkson who replaces an ineffective Bisawan.
Well, there needs to be a reaction from Aberdeen, because so far in the second half they have barely been able to get into Dundee United's half. Subs have been made. Jim Goodwin will be looking for them to at least try to start to land some punches on Dundee United.
Majowski's pass cut out as he was looking for Richardson, Willie.
A little bit of company for Majowski up top. I mean, for me, that should have been the first change when you're 2-0 down. And from
as Clarkson lashes for a goal, but it's blocked. United clear. And breaks to Liam Scales. Little cushion header for Hayes. Back to his countryman Scales.
Yeah, I didn't want to be talking when he stuck one in the top corner.
Because the thing is that, for me, the way this game is set up at the moment, Aberdeen, if they can get the next goal, you know, it's all on, because Dundee United, if they lose it, are going to be fragile. They are, but to not even be able to play the game in Dundee United's half, that's just naive from Aberdeen. You want to try to make it as difficult as possible for a side that you know are still going to be a little bit nervous, but they've allowed Dundee United to feel their way into the second half and actually improve. You know, the performance of Dundee United in the second half is better than what it was in the first.
Ramadani short to Barron at the edge of the centre circle. Forward it goes to Mijowski, back to Barron. Barron looks up, he's disguised the ball, looking for Richardson, but well read by Eriksson, who holds on as we approach 59 minutes. Dundee United 2, Aberdeen 0.
I don't mind that. You know, okay, it's not come off, he's not executed it the way you want, but that's the sort of pass. If it does, it's a goal. You know, and they're not always going to come off. It's good, intelligent, good vision for Barron. He sees that, just doesn't come off, but that's what Aberdeen need more of. Composure in that opposition's half, and also the ability to be able to see the pass and cut open the opposition.
Well, it's the teenager Barron who's down there shouting at his teammates, trying to get them going. Just back in the side. Anthony Stewart picks up at the edge of his own box, short to Barron. Then out wide right it goes for McCrory. Aberdeen haven't tasted a goal at Tannadice since 2016. Simon Church got their winner here.
By the way, that's well taken for Conor Barron, because that wasn't a great ball from Stewart. He zipped into the middle of the park. It wasn't right at Barron's feet, and there was about 3 players that were very close to him. Had he not taken a very good first touch, that could have been a counter.
Stewart playing it forward, first time back by Miovski there to Ramadani, now with Barron. To the left it's Leighton Clarkson, outside of the boot, pass is decent, the cross ball into the box. The Aberdeen supporters optimistically wanting a penalty for a push in Miovski. Goes off a United head and out for an Aberdeen throw-in level with the United 6-yard line over on the far side. 2-0 it is to United. We've played the hour at Tannadice.
See, there's a difference when you try to build the game from, halfway into your own half, and also trying to play it from by kicks and things like that, because when you're playing it from right back deep, it allows Dundee United to get pressed up the park. They need to be able to switch their game up a little bit, turn the opposition, and then once you've got that little bit of space, you've got the players in the middle of the park who will take the ball and they'll build it now.
It's a poor start, second half from Aberdeen. I mean, they're back in it and the changes have been made and it's looking a bit brighter. But they could have been penalised for that kind of approach to the second half, and I just can't understand why they went about their business in that fashion, because United just fed off it, didn't they?
Yep. Conor Barron lost it but wins it back brilliantly. Here's Miovski to Ramadani. Low ball along the grass out to Clarkson on this near side. Looks up at the box, floats the ball in, might break to Duke and then to the back post for Richardson, who doesn't make anything of it. Miovski was there as well. As McCrory.
It's flipped on its head now, Liam. Aberdeen are dominating the ball. They've forced Dundee United back into their own half, and you can sense a little bit of pressure that's beginning to build. The key thing for Aberdeen is now they need to try to create some opportunities here, and they need to get one quickly.
Barron into the feet of Richardson. Rolls it back into the midfield. It's an inaccurate pass, but Ramadani makes it work. Now it's with Scales. Aberdeen 2-0 down as Scales comes forward, squares it to Barron. United with everyone bar Watt behind the ball here.
Barron's
forward
good.
To Richardson.
Barron is good. Yeah. He plays the ball. You watch him. You also said it, Liam. He's demanding of his teammates. But every time he gets it, he's playing that ball forward quickly.
And here's the problem for Aberdeen. Anthony Stewart with some last-ditch defending, and he gives away the free kick on Tony Watt on the far side. Well, again, he's probably best served in that scenario, either going back to his keeper or booting it into the stand. Instead, he tried to dribble the ball out to the far side touchline. Watt put the pressure on, he brings him down, and United have a free kick on the far side touchline with 17 minutes of the second half gone. 2-0 United.
Well, Scales has decided to burst forward. Last 5 minutes, every opportunity he's had, he's went forward. He's asking Ramadani to perhaps sit a little bit, but he's leaving Stewart on his own versus Watt, and Stewart didn't deal with it particularly well. That's a dangerous tactic.
In comes the free kick into the box. The goalkeeper punches away with both fists, collected by Smith, but with a hand as he blasts it forward. It comes off Watt and goes behind for the goal kick. We played 62.5 minutes. Dundee United 2, Aberdeen 0. United, I saw them against Rangers at Ibrox, and Liam Smith scored in the second half to bring it back to 2-1. I thought it was a decent display against Rangers that afternoon. So they've had semi-decent performances during this barren run, but they are 2-0 up against Aberdeen thanks to those 2 goals on 43 and 45 plus 1 in the first half, as Scales picks up and finds Ramadani. Back to Liam Scales. Into the midfield for the on-loan Liverpool player Clarkson's a delicate chip ball. It's brilliantly done and lashed over the bar by Miovski. He was onside, he controlled on the chest and smashes it high into row Z in the shed. It stays Dundee United 2, Aberdeen 0.
Huge moment there in the game, and you're expecting Miovski to find the back of the net. Really good move from Aberdeen. They worked it well, and what a delightful ball from Clarkson, just dropping it over. I think it was McMahon that Miovski got the run on.
Yeah.
And look, you've got in Clarkson and Barron, you've got guys in the middle of the park. They see those passes. They are absolutely brilliant at playing those forward balls and cutting open the opposition. And it's going to be an interesting last spell of this
There's
game.
a chance here as Duke goes after it, but the ball goes back to Eriksson, who clears from his own penalty box. Out for an Aberdeen throw-in on the far side.
Well, you begin to ask questions of their defence. You know, the three in the first half had it so easy playing against one striker. Now they've actually got to think about defending, and you know, looking at that little example of it, they haven't thought particularly well, because Aberdeen have got the two strikers up against the three defenders now.
And Duke down the left-hand side, getting away from Freeman down to the byline. Low ball back is cut out. Scales will get onto the edge of the box, encouraged to shoot. He does. It's blocked. Breaks to Clarkson, to Barron, out wide left for Hayes. United hanging on a little bit here. It's Johnny Hayes down the left, dropping the shoulder, left foot, and he wins Aberdeen the corner. And there's a bit of afters between he and Kieran Freeman.
There's nothing. There's nothing. Oh, get
Cards
away.
Out. Cards out.
That, I'm not
for Freeman.
There's nothing in that for me. Just get up and get on with the game.
What did they get booked for today?
Exactly.
I didn't see it.
I mean,
there's just a big pillar in front of me. Nothing in it.
He tried to block it a little bit, but it's just, you know, it was nothing really.
Aberdeen's first corner of the match, and it comes on 65. In it comes. It's flicked away by United. Duke trying to keep it alive. He's on the deck. He manages to force it back into the midfield for Barron, who works it out wide left for Hayes again. Looks up at the box. Angled ball in. Is headed clear there by Edwards, and he's been floored at the edge of his own box, and United have a free kick, and it will stay 2-0 to the league's bottom side, who are in a fantastic position to win their first game in the Premiership this campaign. What a morale booster that would be for them, and a chance to win more points here against Hibs on Tuesday night.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly is, and you know, the end of the first half was crucial for them, and you know, really positive play and two very, very well taken goals. Second half, it looked as though Aberdeen were really struggling. Just the way they started the game, it was negative fashion, and certainly not the way you should be. The changes have made a big, big difference. You know, Barron coming on, Clarkson as well, and having a couple of targets up front too. Richardson's now playing, you know, wide right. That's his, you know, best position in terms of going forward. And Ross McCrory's playing it right back, and Liam Scales is taking a little bit of responsibility on now and making that extra man in the midfield.
Heading towards the final quarter of this, about a minute away from that. United 2-0 up. Not quite cruising though, although Aberdeen haven't really managed to test Eriksson as the free kick goes United's way down this near side. Duke with the challenge, and it will be a United free kick, to the annoyance of the Aberdeen supporters. Right in front of that is where it happened. Leighton Clarkson is arguing the case with Willie Collum down below us.
Well, the thing is, for Dundee United, they're able to just kill the game and take a little bit of momentum out of it. Aberdeen are obviously getting frustrated, but to be perfectly honest, the less they talk to the referee and the more they just like allow these things to speed up, the better for them. Hugely frustrating, because they've built up a wee head of steam, and all these little incidents are just killing it slightly.
That was always my mantra. Don't speak to the referee.
Just tell him.
Exactly.
You look after that yourself, Willie. Here's Duke. He's looking for Richardson, and it's cut out well there by Bates. She got United's first goal. A little short ball to Sibbald, who was heavily involved in the second. Liam Fox's changes having the desired effect, as it's picked up here by Ramadani. Leaves it for Barron. His pass goes straight to Sibbald, who slides in, and out it goes for a throw-in over on the far side to Aberdeen.
No, but as Mikey says, it's positive passes every time. You know, Conor Barron gets the ball, he wants to look at the pass. His first thought is to pass the ball forward, not sideways or back the way. He's always looking for that telling pass.
United could have found themselves 6 points adrift at the bottom of the table at the end of this weekend. They'd lost tonight, and Kilmarnock get the better of Hearts tomorrow afternoon. It would have been 6 off Ross County. And here they are closing the gap. And Scales moves it forward to Barron. Aberdeen still interested though. Barron's chip ball into the area is headed away by McMahon. The right idea by Conor Barron again. United get it half away. Scales.
It was, and it builds pressure, Liam.
Clarkson, good first touch. Miovski, what a challenge by McMahon. Miovski still has it, pulls it back. Clarkson can't get there. Chance here for Richardson. His effort blocked. Was it by a hand? The Aberdeen players are swarming around Willie Collum. And the decision goes United's way. It stays 2-0 to the home team.
Why does Richardson not just step on it and smash it first time?
Yeah. I mean, big chances for Aberdeen there. I couldn't see if it hit a hand or not, to be perfectly honest. It was just too quick, the action, wasn't it? But great move and really threatening. Aberdeen have actually went to the back three, haven't they? With Liam Scales to the left, Ross McCrory to the right, and Stewart in the middle. That gives them, a little bit extra men going forward. And they're certainly using it. The substitutions and the change of formation certainly made a difference.
Still 2-0 to Dundee United though, and they're going to make a change here. The home team, Middleton's going to be replaced here by Sadat Anaku, who dropped out of the starting 11 for this one.
He's got pace, has he? I haven't seen.
Yes,
he's got pace. I can understand, because Aberdeen are leaving themselves pretty open at the back. Scales going forward at every opportunity, and I think if United just play it over the top and he's got pace and he's a willing runner, then that could cause them issues.
They have got themselves out of a hole at Tannadice before, Aberdeen, from 2-0 down, albeit it was a long time ago. A Scottish Cup tie, which ended with Jimmy Calderwood and Sandy Clark fighting with Billy Dodds, I seem to remember, down below us. As Aberdeen come forward, McCrory's ball in's cleared. Ramadani letting that one go through to Stewart, who squares it inside the centre circle to Scales. Now Ramadani, 2-0 United. Hayes, poor ball, puts it straight to McGrath, looks up and clips it down the right, and here goes Sadat Anaku looking for his first touch. Clarkson slides in and puts it out for a United throw-in. Less than 20 to go, 2-0 to Dundee United.
Clarkson did really well there, but then I thought he actually could have just got his body in and turned away with the ball. He did great to track the run. The ball was coming, arcing into his path. I just felt rather than sliding and knocking it for a throw-in, I thought he could have taken it away infield himself and made a pass and built it.
Throw in here for United. Freeman takes short there to Anaku, breaks McGrath's ways inside the box. Covering's Ramadani, just moving it back to Clarkson, who's got time to take a touch and lash it clear with the right foot. Comes off the head of Smith. Edwards finds Levitt, his ball forward cut out by Ramadani. The break though goes Sibbald's way in the central area, onto the chest of Baich on that left hand side of the pitch. Here goes Sibbald, he's away from Richardson. Left hand side of the box, United looking for a third goal that would probably seal it. Down he goes, penalty! Willie Collum gives United a penalty. Sibbald celebrates. It's the challenge by McCrory, and Dundee United will have a chance to win this game here from the penalty spot.
Was there enough contact there for that penalty to be given? I mean, Willie Collum's right on the spot. I think it's
I'd like to see it again.
Yeah, I think he goes down with not too much contact, but he does well, playing it round McCrory. McCrory doesn't defend it particularly well, goes to ground, and then the referee's got a decision to make. The Aberdeen players are not happy, but at the same time,
I think you've got to say it was really good play from Sibbald.
Yeah,
I'd want to see it again to say, whether it was or it wasn't. It just looked to me as if it wasn't even as if he'd got his body in front of McCrory that was going to be the foul. It just looked like he'd maybe got his toe to the ball and then went down.
Yeah.
Jamie McGrath, who Jim Goodwin was pursuing, as previous Aberdeen managers were pursuing, they wanted him in Aberdeen colours. He's got a chance to score his first United goal, and he does! Sends Roos the wrong way, and Jamie McGrath has surely set the seal on a massive victory for Dundee United as he smashes the ball home, slides onto his knees in celebration in front of the Eddie Thompson stand. The Aberdeen players don't know where to look. United sitting bottom of the table are about to win their first league game of the season. A spectacular scoreline of Dundee United 3, Aberdeen 0.
I mean, the first thing is, it's a brilliant penalty, isn't it? I mean, puts Kel Roos the wrong way, but into the top right-hand corner, the goalkeeper's right-hand corner. He dives to his left with real force too. Confidence, shooting into his own fans as well. And Aberdeen pushing forward, looking to get back into the game, and leaves themselves exposed. They've changed that shape. McCrory gets exposed against Sibbald. He does well. You shouldn't get caught like that though, Mikey. As a defender, it doesn't have head of steam up. He's
it was a bit easy.
It is. He plays it round one side, goes round the other side of the player. There is contact. He goes down in the box. Willie Collum points to the spot. Willie Collum's right there. He's right behind it. He's got the perfect view of it. Up here, I think it's really soft. I didn't see too much contact.
Let's have a quick word with Tom English, who's in the studio and has watched numerous replays of that.
Yeah, listen, I agree with Willie, Mikey. That's not a penalty. There's very, very little in it. Sybil goes down under it's precious little contact from McCrory. I think they've got lucky there. But listen, Aberdeen, they're really poor in this game, aren't they?
Well, they're poor up until, they were it was eeksy peeksy in the first half. They go 2-0 down. The start to the second half was very poor. I think Aberdeen's reaction has been pretty good, but that's just sucked any life out of a recovery for Aberdeen there. And that's what happens when you're already 2-0 down. The opposition have got their tails up. They made it a lot more difficult for themselves, Aberdeen, with certain aspects of the game here. Credit to Dundee United though, because they've been clinical. They've been clinical, something that has not been the case so far this season. And as much as Aberdeen have had nice passages of play, on the whole, Dundee United have defensively looked a lot better than any other occasion really this season.
Yeah, and shades of that Scottish Cup victory at Pittodrie in the quarter-finals a couple of seasons ago for Dundee United, when they won that game 3-0. And here in Barring, a dreadful collapse in the final 15 minutes of the game. This is going to be a first league victory of the campaign for United, and a big moment for Liam Fox, who took charge for the first time as full-time manager last week against St Johnstone, and they were 2-0 down by half-time. Here they were, 2-0 up at half-time, 3-0 up now, and now coasting Willie Miller to 3 massive points.
It's a huge victory. It's certainly looking like a huge victory for Liam Fox, and he deserves the credit for it. I think he set his team up extremely well. I was a little bit concerned that Ramadani in the middle of the field might have controlled that area, and up to a point he did, but with no real effect, because Aberdeen were very limp going forward. They weren't creative, they weren't direct enough in the first half, and certainly defensively very poor. And United took advantage of that by take nothing away from the creative side of United's 2 goals in that first half. And then you change the shape, you go gung-ho, you leave yourself exposed. Ross McCrory, not a defender as such. He can play in these positions, but when he's exposed there and he gets taken on like that just shouldn't happen. You shouldn't allow a player to play it, down your right-hand side. He runs down your left-hand side, and then you make contact with him to give away the penalty. So yeah, a lot of their own making, but as far as Liam Fox concerned, huge game for him, and tactics have been brilliant.
Here's Freeman on this near side for United, infield to Watt, first time out towards McGrath. I think he's claiming, in fact, the offside's been given, so Aberdeen have a free kick. Yeah, they've had a heck of a lot to deal with, of the supporters of Dundee United over the last couple of months, not least the houndings by Celtic here, 9-0, AZ Alkmaar 7-0. Jack Ross's short-lived tumultuous spell as United manager came to an end. Liam Fox in the dugout now, and he must have come into this game with a little bit of trepidation, not because of Aberdeen's away record, which is abysmal and has been for a while now, but just the way his team is playing. I mean, he's learning a heck of a lot of positive things about his players tonight, whereas there was a lot of negativity around before. As Scales fouls Sadat Naku just outside the centre circle, and it's a free kick to United, who are 3-0 up here. 12 minutes of the 90 to play, and that penalty conversion was enough for many of the Aberdeen supporters to leave Tannadice. 4,000 of them made the trip, but they are going to be on the receiving end of a pretty heavy defeat here by the looks of things.
Yeah, well, it spoiled their Saturday night as well, Liam, hasn't it? They've came down here, they're expecting that they're going to have a good day, they're sure that they've had an excellent afternoon, they're looking forward to the game. Their team have looked, particularly at home, very encouraging, very positive, and now they find themselves 3-0 down.
Stewart clears out to this near side for Hayes. That penalty coming at a point where Aberdeen were threatening a comeback, albeit Eriksson has barely had a save. Has he had a save to make? I don't think he has he, Carl-Johan Eriksson?
Well, he had a moment of madness that almost cost them.
Miovski missed an open goal.
But apart from that, you're right, he's not been called into action too often in the game.
And the problem is, Mikey and Willie, Aberdeen defensively, they can't keep clean sheets. And if you're not threatening at the other end, you're losing football matches. And Stewart's misjudged the flight of the ball. Chance here for Watt to shoot straight at Roos. Sadaranaku on the rebound, puts it high over the bar. And it will stay Dundee United 3, Aberdeen 0.
That is terrible defending.
Yeah.
I mean, that is just... it's a simple ball that we'll eat to it, but I'm looking at it defensively. You can see it coming a mile away.
Yeah, I mean, it's just about adjustment and recognising the danger. I think the problem with Stewart is I don't think he's ever played in the back three before. He's never been left alone. He's always had a partner. And he's a good defender in the penalty box, going and winning, and he reads it quite well. But outside it, when he's got to think, when he's got to pass the ball, it's not his strongest point.
His passing's actually really poor. As Barron gets it from Clarkson, under pressure from Levitt. Now it's with Scales who finds Clarkson. 10 minutes left, 3-0 to United. Aberdeen are going to bring on Shaden Morris and Christian Ramirez in a minute as Barron puts it in, and then there's a header straight at Eriksson from Miovski, who was offside anyway. But it was a weak, limp header straight at the United goalkeeper. He'll be eyeing up a much needed clean sheet now into the final 10. Morris and Ramirez will come on, but this game's done.
There's been very little composure shown from Aberdeen. There's been zero leadership, I would suggest, as well. You're expecting, the more experienced players, and there is one or two out there, to take, more responsibility. They certainly haven't done that. I think the way they've started the second half was just ridiculously outrageous, with the goalkeeper passing to two centre-backs in his own, two centre-backs in his own box, in their own box. And not expecting United to put them under pressure, and that then sets the tempo for them. And it was only when the substitutions were made that Aberdeen began to get a head of steam up, but it's not been nearly good enough. And to go 3-0 down here against what used to be classed as a derby, I think the Aberdeen fans will be hugely disappointed.
Free kick United, Aberdeen taking off Ramadao. McCrory's headed into his own net. 4-0. Oh my goodness me! Long ball for United, a misunderstanding between McCrory and Kellaroos, and he heads it past his own goalkeeper. And this is turning into the stuff of dreams for the Terrors, who've had an awful couple of months. But it is an incredible tale here at Tannadice tonight of Dundee United 4, Aberdeen 0.
And it's the stuff of nightmares for Aberdeen. I was just talking about before when the ball got played over the top and you could see it happening a mile away with Stewart misjudging it. That one, you could just see that the goalkeeper Roos and McCrory, they were not thinking on the same wavelength at all. To me, I don't know why the goalkeeper needs to run, because the ball's going towards McCrory, so McCrory has to deal with it, and he's running behind him away out his goals. To me, the goalkeeper, just stay where you are. Stay where you are.
Absolutely. Or he shouts, let it go. If he's going to come out for it, he must communicate, and very loudly communicate, for McCrory to let it go. But you're right, the minute the goalkeeper in situations like that get beyond the post, there's an issue, there's a problem.
Because there's no way that McCrory can head that basically right behind them to where the goalkeeper started to run.
No.
He's knocking it back towards the goal, and the ball is going to McCrory. He has to deal with it, and unless
there's two options, Mikey.
He just leaves it.
He leaves it, and the goalkeeper picks it up by running out his goal, or he heads it and the goalkeeper's got to stay in between his sticks.
Yeah, it's you think about the one that happened at Celtic Park the other week with Juranovic and Hart. It was similar to that, except I felt as if there wasn't really anybody to blame on that one to a certain extent. That, I felt it was a wee bit more like the goalkeeper just stay still. McCrory was going to have to deal with it. It was right on his head, and this is the stuff of nightmares for Aberdeen. And questions start to get asked about away form. How can they not win away from home? The setup, the performance level. For Dundee United, as much as this is a wonderful 4 goals, the last spell here is crucial that they keep a clean sheet as well. That is massive. If they can keep a clean sheet, then it is an incredibly positive. And
Ian Harkes will come on to replace Jamie McGrath. Michael, sorry.
I was just saying, it's an incredibly positive performance and result for them to be able to build to go forward, because I maintain that there is quality in this Dundee United side. They're clearly devastated with what's happened so far this season. I do think defensively they need to perhaps recruit in the winter to get better, but they've got more than enough to be able to build to move up the table.
Heading towards the final 5.5 minutes, Aberdeen on the attack here. This game's long gone for them as Hayes takes a touch and sweeps the cross ball in. There's a header down and Eriksson holds on there from Miovski. He was at the back post, but it's a comfortable take for the Dundee United goalkeeper. 4-0 they lead.
Eventually it's a comfortable take. You know, he's trying his best to give Aberdeen a goal, Eriksson. See, again, the minute he takes, I think he actually took 3 steps towards that ball. See, defenders then think the goalkeeper's getting it. That is an obviously instinctive thought that goes through your mind. And then when he says, no, I'm not getting it, which he wasn't getting it, and he tries to go back in, anything can happen. Anything can happen. He's very fortunate that it fell into his arms at the end of the day.
Dundee United have doubled their league goals tally in one game. They scored 4 in their first 8 matches. They've scored 4 tonight as Scales knocks it back to his goalkeeper. Roos clears, it's low, it's gone straight to Barron. He's lucky that time. Barron plays it along his own 18-yard line for Stewart, who'll roll it out to McCrory on that far side.
It's fortunate it landed at Barron as well. He's got great composure. He's on the edge of the box. He's got 3 players hounding him.
This is Barron. Right-footed pass has gone straight to Freeman. He plays it down the line, and Clarkson will get there, and he sends it forward with the left foot. And it's gone straight to Smith, who hoists it back into the Aberdeen half. Goes out of play eventually for a throw-in. Ross Graham and Peter Pollitt, former Aberdeen player, will come on.
Well, there you go.
Well, it might remind the Aberdeen supporters of a better time. Peter Pollitt, who in particular that 13-14 season and his performances against St Johnstone in the League Cup semi-final, and against Celtic in the Scottish Cup as well that season.
Yeah, it's good to see him back.
Been out for a while now.
Yeah, he is a player that's got talent, and certainly plenty of pace, that's for sure. But you know, Aberdeen have got issues to deal with. Jim Goodwin have got issues to deal with on this performance. You know, I think defensively very, very fragile indeed. And you know, in terms of being creative, just haven't created enough. It's been a hugely disappointing performance from them. And I think when you're getting, you know, 4,000 fans travelling as well, they don't forget easily these type of games, these type of performances, especially against the team at the bottom of the table.
Offside flag goes up against Duke over on the far side. 87 played. Dundee United 4, Aberdeen 0. United heading for their biggest win since in the top flight since January 2016, when they beat Kilmarnock 5-1. They were actually relegated that season. 4-0 is a fairly decisive and conclusive scoreline. As far as Aberdeen are concerned, talking about the away form, they've won 19 league games since December 2020. Just 19. 14 of them have come at Pittodrie, 3 at McDermott Park, 2 at Ammanvale.
That's not good reading, is it? You know, I think it tells you something about maybe the character. And what you can't do, though, is you can't blame all these players that are out there, because this is a new team that's been put together, you know, just this season. So
well, that goes back to Derek McInnes's time.
Yeah,
that's where the rut started.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can't blame these players for. You can blame them for some of the statistics, but not all of the statistics. Oh my goodness!
Terrible from Aberdeen. Levittson for 5, and Roos saves with his feet. Aberdeen still trying to play out from the back and be made to look like mugs by United, who have the tails up and looking for another. Pollitt towards goal, and it goes wide of the left-hand post, and it stays Dundee United 4, Aberdeen 0. There's going to be some post-mortem being done by Jim Goodwin and the rest of his coaching staff about this performance, but United This could give them a serious springboard going forward. With Hibs to come here on Tuesday, they could really start to make inroads under Liam Fox.
I don't think you can defend this performance tonight. You can't defend that type of play as well. And you know, sure, if you're asking someone who can't pass a ball to pass a ball, you know, even in good times, it's difficult for Anthony Stewart to find a teammate. But when you're under pressure like that, please don't try to build. You can't do it. You play to your strength. That has got to be, you know, your first thought. You know, any time in a game, but particularly when you don't want to just get. I think it's embarrassing enough, Liam. That's what I'm trying to say.
Do you know, there's a difference between building the game when, like for example here, there's space. You can start to play it for the back.
Final minute, by the way.
When you're doing things in your box, when you've got guys just ready to pounce as well, and as Willie's talking about, with players who clearly it's not the strength of their game. It's silly. You know, I think back. You know, you think of the likes of Nemanja Vidic, who was an incredible defender, and he was okay in the ball, but it wasn't his strength. He knows when to clear his lines and he knows when to pass the ball. Aberdeen are making too many silly decisions defensively.
Such a soft centre, but United have taken full advantage of it as McCrory drives across halfway. Here's Duke on the turn, 2 minutes of injury time. We're into the first of those. Duke rolls it to Hayes. Inside the box, drives for goal. It's easily blocked, breaks to Shaden Morris. Right hand side of the box, plays it back to McCrory. He shoots, it's blocked as well. United desperate for this clean sheet to make it the perfect night at the office. Barron gets it back from Hayes. Here's McCrory. He rolls it to his right for Clarkson. Chips the ball in. Duke's header at goal is wide of the left-hand post, and it will stay 4-0 to Dundee United. And it is a massive reality check for Aberdeen. A huge reality check. Where are they? We don't know really, Willie, because at home, okay, they're scoring goals. A couple of their wins at Pittodrie came against 10 men in games that were very even, actually. If anything, St Mirren and Livingston were the better teams in those games. Last week was a decisive win, but away from home, away from Pittodrie, they just can't seem to get anything going.
Yeah, they'll need to turn that round. There's no doubt about it. I mean, it's a massive blow, I think, to the optimism of the Aberdeen fans. I think it's a massive blow to what I've seen as well, because I haven't, you know, seen them as bad as this. And you know, that law of attraction that Leanne was speaking about, I don't know if you heard that conversation. It's slowly draining out my veins.
Try to play for a throw-in over on the far side for Aberdeen, but Michael Stewart, this place is going to, the United supporters, certainly the home sections, are going to be elated in about 25 seconds time now.
Yeah, no wonder they've been starved so far this domestic campaign. I'm sure they'll be going out and having an enjoyable evening on the back of this. It's exact. I mean, Liam Fox could not have dreamt this scoreline.
See, that's the thing about Saturday 6 o'clock kickoffs. You can have a nice afternoon and a nice evening.
Aye, depending on the result.
Well, the United supporters will be having a nice evening. As Willie Collum blows for full time. And the United supporters can barely believe the scoreline this evening. They don't come off the bottom of the table. That's for another night. That's for another day. But they've blown Aberdeen away this evening in the Saturday evening kickoff. An even first half exploded into life on 41 minutes when Aziz Behich smashed home in the rebound to give United the lead. And a game that could have gone either way at that point. Miovski missed an open goal quite early on in proceedings as Aberdeen took hold of things at that point. But tonight was all about Dundee United. Without a league win all season, Behich's goal was the catalyst for a hammering of their northeast rivals. Tony Watt lashing home just as we went into first half stoppage time. Both occasions it was poor defending, but on both occasions the United player was clinical, and none more so than Tony Watt, who smashed it into the top right corner to make it 2-0 before half time. And if you were expecting an Aberdeen comeback, well, United pinned them back for the first 10-15 minutes of the second half. A couple of near things for Aberdeen, who barely tested Carl Johan Eriksson in the United goal before Jamie McGrath, a long-time Aberdeen target. He was a target for Stephen Glass, he was a target for Jim Goodwin. He could have been in the Don side tonight. but he's always so deadly from the penalty spot. And Jim Goodwin, who watched him wait on the ball in the penalty spot, would have known exactly what was going to happen. So often for him, he converted, and he did again, sending Kellaroos the wrong way with 17 minutes to go, and that extinguished all thoughts of an Aberdeen comeback. Ross McCrory's own goal 8 minutes from time summed up the calamitous nature of this Don's performance as he headed past Kellaroos after a misunderstanding. It summed up Aberdeen's night, but for Dundee United, what will this do for their confidence? They've absolutely swept Aberdeen out of the city of discovery this evening, and they've closed the gap at the bottom of the table. That's asked Kilmarnock a question ahead of their game against Hearts tomorrow. After 9 attempts, United finally win in the Premiership. It finished here with a spectacular and stunning scoreline under the lights at Tannadice of Dundee United 4, Aberdeen 0.
This is Sports Sound
From BBC Radio Scotland.